Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Was the door locked?
I think so.
Oh my goodness. Is there any way we can get it propped open? Thank you, Earl, for being here.
Yes, sir.
I've already told everybody else thank you, so I'll include you.
Good to be here.
Well, didn't realize the door was locked. So we've done the moment of silence and the pledge, and so we're ready for a roll call. Mr. Safety?
Here.
Ms. Paris?
Here.
Ms. Hale?
Here.
Mr. Brock?
Here.
Mr. King?
Here.
Ms. Hamby?
Here.
Ms. Boston?
Here.
Ms. Cargie? Not here, and the chairman is here. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor say aye. 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 Any opposed? We'll move on. All right. The next item on the agenda is the Director of School search process. And before we get into any discussion, I want to make a motion. So everybody, I hope you got your calendars out and everybody's ready. So I'm going to make a motion that we set up our interviews for April the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And to do two interviews on Thursday the 7th, 2 on Friday the 8th, and 3 on Saturday the 9th. And then have a special called meeting on April the 12th for us to vote. Now, and all this motion does is it's taking care of setting up the dates of the interviews. We will continue making motions about how to conduct the interviews and so forth afterwards. But I just wanted to put this out for a vote just for the meeting dates and the interviews.
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Safety seconded. Discussion. Yes, Ms. Hamby.
Just a question on when we come back on April the 12th to vote, is that to whittle it down to the top 4?
Well, in my mind, I think what we can do is if we take a vote and one person gets the majority, then we're done. But if nobody comes out with a majority, then yes, we can whittle it down to the top 3 or the top 4, whatever this board decides to do. But I wasn't making that part of the motion because I figured we can do that later. But yes, but like I said, I think we could, if somebody comes out with 6 or 7 or 8 votes or 9 votes, then we would be finished.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Based on the way our voting went last time, I'm going to do a roll call vote. Okay, I believe it'd be easier. Mr. Safety?
Yes.
Ms. Paris? Ms. Hale?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. King?
No.
Ms. Handy?
Yes.
Ms. Boston?
No.
Ms. Cargie's not here, and chair votes yes. So the motion passes 6-2, and with 1 absent. Okay, so now we've got the dates set And so now we can begin discussing, how we want to go about with the interviews. And in my mind, like I said, we could do 2 on Thursday, and in order to kind of keep people from having to travel so far, during the week, I would think we could probably do the 2 local candidates on Thursday, and then the remaining candidates, we can draw their names out of a hat and for their positions on Friday and Saturday. So what do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
As long as they were notified of which day they got, and then we set a time. Got plenty of time between now and then.
I agree.
So do we need to make a motion on that, I guess? All right.
Want me to help you restate that?
Do you want to make a motion, or do you want me to? I can.
You do it. I mean,
Okay.
I'm afraid to jinx anything.
Well, you guys help me out.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I make a motion that we interview the 2 local candidates on April the 7th. We take the remaining candidates, we'll put their names in a hat, draw them out for positions, and we'll do the remaining interviews on Friday, the 8th, and Saturday, the 9th.
I'll second that.
Okay?
Clarification,
Yes.
you had mentioned that we were going to do 2 on one day and 3 on another. And which was the, I call it,
2 on Thursday, 2 on Friday,
and then 3
and
on
then
Saturday.
3 on Saturday.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood.
Okay. So we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hallelujah, we got that passed.
Good job, Jimmy.
Okay. So we'll do our 2 local candidates on Thursday, and then we'll, like I said, we'll have Miss Bray.
I have a hat.
Okay, she can put them in the jar and.
already here.
All right, and we can pull them out and set their times. Well, speaking of times, what time do we want to start our interviews?
Now, that's a good question.
Well, we could do on Thursday and Friday, we could do 4:30. Start the first one at 4:30. Or 4:35. That'll give Miss Cargie time to get here. Miss Boston, would that give you time to get here? On Thursday and Fridays? If we started.
I won't be here on Friday, but I can come on Thursday.
Okay, but at 4:35, would that give you time to get here from work?
I'm here, yeah, if I'm here, I'm here. If I'm not, y'all start without me.
Well, I don't want to start without you, but
you'll have
we can. Well, we can make it later. I mean,
That's fine.
we can we could do it 4:45 like we did tonight.
Make it whatever time you need.
Well, I'm trying to work around your and Miss Cargie's schedule.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I can make it happen
Okay,
if I need to.
so we could do the first interview.
Can I,
Yes,
can
ma'am.
I just make a suggestion?
Sure.
Well, what time do the central office people get off? They get off at 4?
4:30.
So maybe we should give them like a 30-minute leeway, maybe even start it at 5.
That's fine with me.
That better?
That's fine with me. What does everybody else think?
Since a couple of the people being interviewed work here, they might like to have a few minutes to
Right.
prepare.
That's why I was thinking 5 instead of immediately after they get off of work.
I like that.
That's fine. Is that all right with you?
I'll be here anyway.
Okay. Ms. Becky, is that all right with you?
I'll be here as well. So.
Okay, all right. So we'll start our first interview at 5 o'clock. And,
They are permitted to take a personal day or personal hours before.
well, that's true, but I'd hate for them to have to.
Yeah.
Of course, they want to
I'm gonna
stay,
take that the next day.
well,
Recovery.
I have a district testing coordinator webinar before that.
I see.
No personal day.
okay, so we'll do the first interview at 5. And then how long do we need to set for interviews? Earl, you got to help me on this. I can't remember how long our interviews lasted last time. I can't remember if we set them for an hour.
We
Ms.
did
Boston?
one, we did one an hour.
I think you're right.
Okay.
Sandy. I think it was in that ballpark. You know, there were a lot of questions, and,
Well, and since you brought up questions,
sir,
I gave everybody, or actually Miss Diane passed out a copy of questions that I found on my computer. And
is it the same version that I sent to everybody?
no,
Okay.
no, you
It's a
should
little
have,
bit,
you
it's a
should
little bit
have,
different, this
Okay.
one.
you should have a copy laying there, I hope.
He does.
Okay, yeah, and it was just 14 questions, and I'm assuming you must have sent that to all of us or something, because look at the date on that.
He did send that, and then we took that and we made our questions, and he sent us the one where we revised.
Right.
And so he sent that in an
Okay.
email the other day, so it was a little bit different than this one.
Yeah, well, but you know, if you look at that date, you know, that was before I was on the board.
Yes, sir.
So I'm assuming that you or somebody sent that to me, and I just put it on my computer.
I did have a set of questions that predated the ones that I sent to you all. The reason I sent the ones to you all that I did is just that they were more recent.
Okay.
But they were probably derived from the,
Okay. Well, I know the ones that you sent us just recently,
yes, sir.
like 9 pages worth of questions. And were those the ones that we chose from and narrowed it down to?
I believe so. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, so that we can do that again then. We can take the questions that Mr. Patton sent us and these questions and look at them, and everybody can decide which questions you feel like is pertinent, and then we can,
And then we were allowed to ask questions of our own.
right, and we were allowed to ask follow-up questions also.
You were, but I think I vetted those questions.
You
So
did.
If there are questions that you plan to ask, I would ask that you send them to me ahead of time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna come up with any kind of harebrained questions, you know, to, you know, put anybody on the spot or anything, but I would prefer that you review them beforehand.
Earl, what is exactly you're looking for in our questions that we may or may not ask?
Discrimination.
Got it.
I mean, that's really, you know, that's what you worry about with interview questions, at the end of the day. Just to make sure that they're not, you know, unfairly biased in some way.
Got it.
How many can we ask?
I think we were allowed, wasn't it 3 each?
That, I don't,
Besides the
besides
the list.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think, is that,
I don't know that we put a limit on it.
I'm with you, Ms. Paul.
I don't think we put a limit on it.
maybe it was we sent you 3 and you vetted those 3, I don't know.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think we put a limit up on follow-up questions.
Okay.
If we ask a question that prompted something else on our mind, I think we were allowed to ask those. And we're certainly in a different time frame now, and I would certainly take the privilege of asking questions. I'll run them by you first, but there are some more detailed questions that I certainly am interested in.
Good deal.
Okay, so what we need to do then is everybody look at the questions that Mr. Patton sent us and the questions that we had handed out today, and and any other questions that you feel like you want to ask, and we need to send those to Mr. Patton and have him vet those.
Sure.
And then we'll go from there. And you can kind of come up with the best questions, I guess.
I can put them in order, and just
Okay.
like I did with that last list that I sent, I think you could tell that I had, there were initials, so I think that, each board member that had asked that specific question was indicated in the margins there, so we can figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
By what date do we need to send those?
April the 7th is when we're starting. Can everybody send in by March 31st? Give me a week to put it together. I think that would, if I had that much time, I'd feel confident that I can.
Would you prefer them to have them on the 24th? That'd give you 2 weeks.
Yes?
Well, that's 2 weeks. The 24th is 2 weeks from today. So
The more
surely,
time, the better. So if you think the 24th is reasonable, then I'd be happy to take that amount of time.
what does everybody think about the 24th?
I'll get them to him as quickly as I can, but I'm gonna have to do a little fine tuning.
I understand.
Will the 24th give you plenty of time?
I will make every effort.
Okay. All right. What about everybody else?
Looks good.
Okay. All right. So we need to have them to him by the 24th, by 5 o'clock.
That's fine. Sir, close
Fine.
business. That's fine.
Close the business on,
Five's fine.
okay, on the 24th. I gotta make me a note.
Refresh my memory, are these questions taken from the ones that he's given us, or ones that we want to add?
You can, or you can add to them. You can, just the ones that you want to ask,
Okay,
that you want asked. Not necessarily that you will actually get to ask that question. Somebody up here will ask those questions once we put them on the list. But yes, and any other questions that you want to ask.
And
I
that
think the
still
questions
does,
are all presented. They've
Yes.
already been vetted. You wouldn't have to worry about that.
well, I think whenever I read the email and I opened it up, it had initials by who actually sent that question or asked that question, and I saw AH there a lot.
that still would not eliminate, there again, if we're asking a question and they mention something, an impromptu question, that wouldn't eliminate that. I mean, we would be able to ask follow-up independent questions.
That shouldn't be an issue.
I mean, as long as discriminatory remarks are not made or references made, we should be okay.
I think so. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, any further discussion on the questions? So we'll have those turned into you by March 24th by 5 o'clock.
Is the intention of the board to have these questions available to candidates ahead of time?
We did last time, so I would think so. Yes, we need to.
Could I have some direction from the board as to when they should be provided to the candidates?
If you get them on the 24th and you get them to them by Friday, April the 1st, that gives them a week. And the questions that we have at this point are not that difficult. They're pretty well standard questions.
Does that sound fair to everybody? Okay. Yes, Ms. Hamby?
I have another question. I'm changing subject again. Okay, on the time frame, are we doing the same times on the 8th and the 9th also? Starting
can-
them at 5 p.m.?
You wouldn't on the 9th.
On the 9th,
on the
no,
8th.
but on the
On the 8th, we'll start at 5 and then do the second one at 6. And then, on the 9th, now I was waiting on that for us to, we can decide on that. When would everybody want to get started? I know we can do it in the afternoon, we can do it in the evening, or we can do it in the morning.
Morning.
Well,
Ms. Shirley,
yeah,
I want to make sure you get to take care of your business on Saturday.
The morning.
You can do it morning?
9 o'clock.
Oh, 9 o'clock?
9.
You're on 400.
You will have three
on Saturday.
It really don't matter. Takes up the day, anyway.
Okay. We could start the first one at 9 o'clock, have the second one at 10 or 10:15, whenever. Third one, 11 or 11:30.
Okay.
Yeah, schedule a break in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15-minute break in between them, please.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we can do that.
I think,
Do
9, 10.
I mean, I take
9,
notes.
10,
but I
15.
like to-
11:30.
11:30? Okay. So Saturday, we'll do 9, 10:15, and 11:30.
Jimmy?
Yes, sir.
I've got a question about, what will be the backup plan, or what will be the plan if we ask questions and it runs over the hour that we've given? What will be the plan of action? Do we continue asking questions and then just inform the candidates that we'll be done when we're done?
I would think so. Of course, unfortunately and fortunately, our two local candidates will kind of be our gauge on about how long it will take. And so, we may have to adjust, because I don't want to rush anybody, whether it be the candidate or any of our board members. I don't want to rush anybody. So, if it takes a few minutes longer, I think we should take that time and be fair to each and every candidate.
Thank you.
Agreed.
I seem to remember that happening on one of our interviews prior to this board, where I think we asked questions and it lasted for almost a half an hour longer, and the other candidate was in the
They're waiting.
right waiting.
Yeah.
We just kept them notified.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir, Mr. King.
do we limit their answers to 3 minutes or something like that?
I hate to do that.
We can if the board wants to, but I'm like Miss Hale. I hate to.
Yeah.
I don't want to give them a soapbox to let them talk for an hour either.
I just know in the past, sometimes we've had long-winded people. They take, 5 words where one would do.
If we build in an opportunity or a time for the candidates to give a final summary at the end, then we might take care of some of that.
Which is what we did when we interviewed.
Right. Yes, we
Exactly.
did.
I mean-
Before we let them have their closing
Closing statement. Yep.
I mean,
argument.
I would think that we would. I would think that we need to do that again, and give them 5 or 10 minutes at the end to give their closing statement. Okay. Okay, so we've got We've got all that worked out. another item that Ms. Boston brought up, she wanted to include our principals and supervisors. My suggestion, and this is just a suggestion, it's not a motion. My suggestion is that we tell all of our principals and Ms. Timpson and supervisors over here, if they want to participate, they need to be here for the interviews. And they can keep notes, do whatever they want to, and then if they're here for all 3 days, and if they're here for all of the interviews, then they can just write down on a piece of paper their recommendation. They can give that to us, or they can give them to Mr. Patton, and then he can disperse them to us, and we can take that into consideration in our votes on the 12th. Like I said, that's just a suggestion. But according to board policy, we're the only ones that can ask questions. But I would like to have some of their input as well if they want to. But if they're not here for all 3 days, then I don't think we can weigh their thought process. But they would have to be here for all 3 days, see all of the interviews, and then, like I said, and they could make a recommendation to whom they think would be the best candidate, and then we can take it home with us, and you can factor that in with your decision if you so need to. Any discussion on that?
I think that getting that type of participation is good. It's reasonable.
To remove any possibility of bias, it probably needs to go to Earl.
That's fine with me.
I mean, because basically all
You
you
make the decisions.
he would be doing is summarizing their feelings. I mean, what are they going to turn into him?
Well, I would.
We don't want anybody to turn him in a book.
No, all I would want them to turn in would be just a name.
Which is simple enough.
Yeah. And they can keep their scoring sheets or whatever they want to do. They can do it any way they want to. But then they just make a recommendation on who they feel like would be the best candidate, turn it into Earl, and then he can give us that information before we leave on Saturday, so that we've got that information that we can look at it until the 12th. And then, like I said, we can all factor that in if we want to, or we can make our own decision based on our own observation.
How about a ranking of the top 2?
Well, are they going to put their names on them? Or is it going to be anonymous?
I like anonymous. They'll be more likely to.
It doesn't matter to me. The only thing about it is, I don't want just a name. I want a brief synopsis of why they feel that way. I mean, I'm going to turn in, and I'm going to, I listened to Diane's interview, and I also listened to one of the other candidates, and I'm just going to give you a name and give it to me. No, tell me why you believe that. I don't want a book, but if you listen to it, and I also believe that you're going to have a hard time getting principals who have worked all day in a building here Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Mm-hmm. If they come Saturday and they come Thursday, I think we should still be able to consider those and give that weight, because they listened to the candidates that we did. And if they're only giving us a name.
And it is going to be public.
And it is public.
Public interviews, right? So
Yes.
so they could actually listen to them without being here.
I don't think we're going to, are we broadcasting it?
No, we're not.
I don't know.
Never mind.
I wouldn't think we would.
No.
I wouldn't mind having it, Earl. Well, of course, we broadcasted them last time because we were in COVID, So I would assume that we could, if not doing it live, we could at least put the interviews on our website so that the public could access it.
Look at it and weigh in before we.
Here's who we need to talk to.
That's
Mr.
We recorded them last time.
Yep.
And then the day after all the interviews were over,
Exactly.
I posted them.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't do it
So
during
that way
the,
everybody, it just keeps from the next candidate listening to
Yes.
somebody.
And which is fine, because
Okay.
that still gives them time to look at and listen to it before
It's
the
way we-
12th.
It's kind of the way we did those meetings in COVID, though.
Yeah.
We stream them and then I'd repost them.
Okay.
and considering the fact that if we have an administrator or, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a principal, it can be a supervisor, administrator, whatever the case may be. If they're going to take their time and sit in on the interview, I think we should give their recommendations some weight, no matter if they're here all 3 days or not.
My problem with them not being here for all 3 days is, if they don't watch all of the candidates, how are they gonna give us the best? How are they gonna tell us the best if they've not heard all of them?
They can, hey, look, I sit in on these interviews. Out of the interviews I sat in on, this is what I would recommend, or this is what I think would be the best interest of our district. Turn it in if, you know, and then we have that to weigh at least. I
Would
mean,
you
If they
like-
said which interviews they actually
actually,
saw.
right,
Yeah.
would we
That's
print
fair.
out a
little form.
not a form, but guidelines saying if you only view 2 interviews, please state who you interviewed, and why you prefer one.
I think that's fair.
I don't have any objections to that.
I don't have any objections to that either.
I'm fine with that.
Mr. Patton?
I just want clarification, because my understanding is that these suggestions are going to come to me and through me to the board.
Yes.
So, and I've heard, the thought about these being anonymous. Is it the board's wish that I compile anybody that sends me a recommendation, that I provide the board with a position? I guess I need to know what you want from me in terms of what I send to you.
Well, what we need to do is
It's a principal, and they sat through all 3 interviews, and here's who I recommend,
And here's why.
and here's why, okay.
Yeah, and we want to protect, if a local candidate was selected and they somehow got a hold of an individual's preference and it wasn't them, it puts that person who is doing the evaluation in an awkward situation.
Sure.
So that's what we want to prevent.
So you can put position, like you said, and not name.
I think I can do that.
Okay.
Anonymous to us, but not to you.
Right, certainly,
We don't care if you know or not.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Sounds
know.
good?
Well, I don't know. Will he leak?
Can you be
No, I'm
wrong?
just kidding.
Can you be trusted?
No, it's can
Been
you be
trusted for about 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think we have to worry.
I say that just jokingly.
Right. Thank you.
I like to get you every now and then. But no, I don't have a problem with
Does that
with
need to be put in the form of a motion and voted on, or is that just something we agree on?
It's just a procedure.
Procedure? I'm good with that.
Could we send out an email to,
All the principals, administrators?
I mean, it's an open
open.
meeting.
Well, we need to give them some kind of direction, though. I think we should send out an email. Dr. Maxwell, could you send out an email to we want it to go to Miss Julia Timpson.
Well, I think it has to go out to all
and-
the staff.
Well, no, we're not going to open it up to everybody. We were just going to open it up to the principals and the supervisors over here.
Earl couldn't
How many
compile.
emails am I gonna have?
If we did
Yeah.
teachers and everybody.
I mean, if you,
I think we should, I
400 or
think we should.
500 responses, Earl, you can do that in a couple of.
if you send it out to the principals, the supervisors, and I have a teacher that wants to attend, that's very vested in, has an interest in this, they can come, they just can't give an opinion. Is that what you're saying?
No, they can call us or they can email us like they've been doing. Anytime they want to. That's open for all of our constituents and
They
everybody.
just will not be filling out this form to send it to
Yeah.
Earl.
Correct,
Okay, I'm okay with that.
yeah. Because I would prefer, I think we need to limit it to the principals and the supervisors over here at central office.
All right.
They could send it to Julia. I mean, you know.
Let me
many
ask
teachers
this
are there?
question. I feel,
Mr. Safety?
I feel strongly, but I'm willing to compromise, or I really feel like we should have participation from county commissioners in some form. And the way we could do that is by asking Alan Foster to select 2 or 3 at his discretion to participate along with the principals so that they can give their opinion. We have a great relationship with the county commission now.
Well, we also have that education board. Wendell Wilson would be the perfect person
The
to do
education
that.
board,
We have an
yeah.
education committee on the county commission,
So what are you proposing?
that if we sent the chairman, I think which is Wendell Wilson, if we sent him an email and said, you know, this is what we're doing, we invite you,
That would satisfy
Right.
me.
and I think that would be excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how many members are on that education board,
There
but,
should be 9. There should be 1 from each district.
and then
And
They
he
can-
And he can select.
Yeah.
It's up
Among-
to him to organize.
right, among himself.
I think that's.
But Earl wouldn't have to handle this too.
No.
No.
Now, let's
No.
not burden him any more
Well,
than
I mean,
he.
if we're dealing with principals, administrators, and members of the education committee of the county commission, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Okay,
So you can handle 25?
Sure.
I think that's close to the
That's
number we've
reasonable.
reached.
Okay. I think that's a great idea, Mr. Safety.
Well, I appreciate that support.
Yeah.
You.
So we can, I think that's a great idea to start with Mr.
We want to make sure
Mr.
everyone is included, our whole county in some capacity. It's public. Send your emails to us, people.
Oh,
Well, and also,
they have
I want
been.
to know.
this is a different time. And I think in the last couple of years, education has had a lot of attention. And it's, the stakes are a little higher. And we got to get this right. And I think if there's a lot of people interested in the actions of this board than there were 2 years ago. So I think the more we welcome that interest and accept that interest, then maybe we'll do a good job.
Well, I don't know. I think you're right. I think we're under more of a microscope than
Oh, we are.
than we have been in the past. But I don't know that people are taking more of an interest than they did last time, because last time I got plenty of emails and plenty of phone calls, just like I'm having right now. So I think, but you are correct. We are.
I think education as a whole, whether it's local level, state level, district level, whatever, education as a whole has moved up 2 spaces in the board game. And they're looking, they're watching. And I think the more people we include, and better off we are. they know our phone numbers and they know our email addresses.
Yes, they do.
They know it's in the grocery store.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so,
And they can chase you down.
well, no,
Let's move on while we're productive.
Okay. All right.
Come on. I
Yes.
don't want to lose the
yeah,
momentum.
well, we're doing great.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so,
Is
so
anything
we've
else?
we got the dates, we've got the times, we've got the people that's gonna be involved. Is there anything else that we need to fine tune?
What are we wearing that day? Does it matter?
No. You can come in a tux if you want to.
I will not.
I'd like to see that.
I will not.
Appropriate, Dr. Maxwell will have appropriate refreshments for our candidates.
I will ensure that. Miss Diane will help me, and we will take care of them.
Can you make
And
a
you will
pasta
too.
salad?
Yeah, can you make,
cost you, but I can try.
What was that?
Not pay.
What did you say?
What did you ask for?
the pasta
Oh, it
salad?
was great.
Salad, okay.
I second that motion.
I'll take up a collection from each of you.
All right.
Yep.
I'll have to go get into my swear jar.
Okay, Ms. Hale.
Yes, refresh my memory. How many questions are we supposed to send to Earl? Did we set a limit?
I don't think we did. Just the questions that you feel like that you personally would like to have answered.
And he will vet them also and make sure they're not duplicated by each of us. That's what
Yeah.
he did last time.
Right.
And,
But I think we had a limit on what we sent. I don't remember.
We didn't have a limit.
I don't remember a limit.
He just made sure we didn't all ask the same question,
Yeah.
want to ask the same question, or similar questions that you're gonna get the same answer.
If I remember correctly, and it's hard for me to do, it's been that long ago, we sent all of our questions to Earl, and he compiled a list, and that way that we only had one, because several of us will have the same question. And then we divided up amongst ourselves who was going to ask what question.
We just went by districts.
Yes.
We had some at that point because we were still social distancing. We had tables sit down,
Yes.
and then we had some every other seat up here. And then we just went by districts to asking the questions from our list. And then if we
Okay,
want-
so we had the list, and we just started over here, and
we sat
they
and
took.
started down there.
Okay, but they started with, they asked question number one, the next one asked number two, so forth, and then, and we need to have the same
Format.
board member asking the same question to each candidate. I remember we did that. Well,
like whenever
It came time-
Like if I asked number three,
you
but I
asked,
asked to every.
you asked number three to every candidate.
It's basically up to me to prepare a script for
Thank
this
you.
9-minute,
Thank you.
Yeah,
and that's what I'll do.
okay.
Thank you, Earl.
And just so we're consistent,
Thank you.
sir.
Okay. Does anybody have any other discussion on the director search? I thought, yes, Miss Bray.
Okay, now, are you gonna want me to notify the candidates after you draw when they're been selected to come?
Yes,
Send them an email?
yes.
Are you gonna draw tonight? 'Cause I
We
have
can.
friends that-
We can go ahead and do that and get it over with.
Let's do it.
Why don't we let Earl draw?
That's
Yeah,
fine.
but Earl's,
Yeah, let Earl draw the numbers.
All right.
and these are for the Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday,
Okay.
How
yes.
would you like me, are we gonna do Thursday night?
Thursday night is local candidates. Have-
Thur-
So
yes.
it's gonna be,
Yes.
who's gonna go first?
We can flip a coin.
Steve, can we
So
borrow your
these
hat?
are all the candidates with the exception
Well,
of the local
they're still, the
candidates?
two locals are still in here, so we pull them out
Earl?
and set them to the side.
Okay.
And then
So this is Friday.
you really
We're
only
pulling
have
for
to draw
Friday at
two.
5 o'clock, yes?
Friday at 5.
You only have to draw two,
Why the?
which will determine Friday.
Okay, the first name drawn is Dr. Justin Barton. The second name drawn is Vince Owens.
Ms. Owen.
The third name is Dr. Joseph Miller.
Well, they will be on
This is
Saturday.
That would be on
You just need
Saturday.
2 on Friday.
Yeah, we're going to Saturday now.
Okay, so,
Yeah,
We're on
so
Saturday.
so that one will be at
The
9 o'clock.
remainder of them will be
You just
Saturday.
drove, you just do Saturday, 9 o'clock, 9 a.m.
9 o'clock.
Do I need to do anything different than I've already
Nope,
done?
no, you're doing great.
Okay.
You've got your, well, you've got your local.
Kim's got you covered.
You've got
Okay.
Friday.
Carl, you need help? I don't know.
What order they come on Saturday?
Got it.
The fourth name is William Stepp.
That will be the 10:15.
Dr. Michelle Barnett.
I think that should be it.
It'll be the 11,
Correct.
was it 11:30?
11:30.
11:30.
She's doing
Who's 9 o'clock?
Miller.
Joseph Miller.
Dr.
Who is the first?
On Saturday at 9, it's Dr. Joseph Miller. 10:15, Mr. William Stepp. And then at 11:30, Dr. Michelle Barnett.
This is fun.
Once you get that on your computer, just send us an
We
email.
got a coin.
Yeah, we need a coin.
We got a coin.
Why do we have, oh,
We're on.
I don't have.
Anybody got a coin?
I got a coin.
Here, I need a coin.
I don't.
No, Earl's got a coin. He's got everything else.
You got it?
Well, hang on just a second. I've made this too complicated. Are their names still in the jar?
We're just gonna toss the coin between the two locals to see who goes first.
Okay.
For the Thursday.
Okay, and then you're gonna toss it and they're gonna call it?
I guess I can,
Can't we do it alphabetically?
but I need to know whose heads and.
call it first.
Call it
That's
first.
Call in the air.
Heads.
Now we gotta be able to put our glasses on.
Tails.
So,
Tails.
Dr. Farley goes first on Thursday.
Okay.
Hey, elections
Earl.
have been decided on coin toss.
True.
And football games.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so now I believe we've got just about everything. Does anybody can't think of anything else that we need to discuss?
Is Diane compensated for these refreshments? I mean, otherwise her grocery bill is going to
I
bankrupt.
don't know. She needs to be.
I'm sure
We
she,
have funds available to
Are we-
compensate. her.
Okay.
is she not compensated?
She's better than you.
Well, I started to say, I would,
Do I need
Yes.
to put that in form of a
I do
motion?
not purchase the groceries, I just donate my time of cooking.
Okay.
how about you get an hour on that?
A lot.
Can we afford it?
That's why I'm gonna take a collection afterwards.
Robbie, we can get some.
She's getting
compensation.
sassy.
I will donate for the pasta salad. The
Okay.
sandwiches are pretty good too, but anyway.
All right, is there any further discussion on the director of school search process?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. King.
just to be sure, on Thursday at 5, Dr. Farley, Thursday at 6, could we make that 6:15?
6:15.
6:15, yes.
Same on Friday?
Yes,
Okay.
we'll do that. Did you get that, Ms. Bray?
Got it.
Got it, okay. And, okay, is there any further discussion on the director of school search? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, other discussion. Anybody got anything else to discuss?
Motion to adjourn.
I only have one.
Second.
Well, hang on just a second. We've got Mr. Safety.
I just want to tell you that working with you all has been phenomenal. We went through a very, very detailed discussion, and today we resolved all of the issues that we discussed last week
In 35 minutes.
in 35 minutes. It was worth it to me.
Thank you, Mr. Safety.
Thank you, board.
Now, Ms. Boston, I'll entertain your motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Thank you. Any opposed, just hang around.